Hello, my name is Shmuel Namberg, and we are going to graph the equation y equals -4 secant 3x. So in order to graph the secant function, we will first need to graph the reciprocal, which is the cosine function, as a guide. Once we have the cosine graphed, we make a down u on the bottom and up u at the top, and make asymptotes at the zeros. Then the cosine can be removed as it is not part of the secant graph. So now let's graph this formula of y equals -4 secant 3x. So as I said before, we first need to graph the reciprocal of y equals -4 cosine 3x. So we have to find the amplitude, which is going to be 4, as it cannot be negative. The frequency, which is 3, since 3 is in the b spot. Period, which is 2 pi over b. I'm going to graph 2 pi over 3, as the frequency is in the b. And the period over 4. So we go like this, and then, so in order to get that, we have to do 2 pi over 3 divided by 4, which equals to 2 pi over 12, which we could simplify to pi over 6. So now we're going to graph the x-axis. Now that we have the first period, pi over 6, I'm going to show you how to get the others, which we graph the period into 4 equal parts. So this is our first. So we already have this one, pi over 6, we're good. Then it's 2 pi over 6, then 3 pi over 6, and then 4 pi over 6. So this will reduce to pi over 3. This will 3 pi over 6 will reduce to pi over 2. Then 4 pi over 6 would reduce to 2 pi over 3. Then we could plug these in to our x-axis. So pi over 3, pi over 2, and 2 pi over 3. So now that we did the x-axis, now we need to do the y-axis. So the amplitude is 4, it's our highest point, and then our lowest point is going to be -4. So we start off at the bottom to graph this function. Since it says -4, we graph at -4. Then we continue going up to we start going up to pi over 6, which is at 0, which is undefined. So that's where we make our first asymptote. Then we continue going up to pi over 3, where cosine is equal to 4. Then we go back down to pi over 2, which is at 0, where cosine is undefined. Then we continue going back down to 2 pi over 3, where cosine is equal to -4. So now now that we graphed cosine, I'm just gonna make a little dotted line to show the cosine graph. Okay, so now that we've graphed the cosine, we can do the secant. So we make a down u at the bottom, since it's at the lowest point. Make a up u at the top, since it's the highest point. Then make our last down u at the bottom, since it's our lowest point. So now that we've graphed the reciprocal and we've graphed secant, we could erase the reciprocal, since we don't need it anymore. We don't need it anymore since we graphed secant. Okay, our graph is complete.